What's up, guys? Sub-Zeric here, back for another VOD review, and today I got something really cool for you guys. So this is Prestivent. Of course, he is rank 3 North America. I believe he was rank 1 earlier in the set, yeah, when he was like popping off, but he's been slacking a little bit, only 300 LP at rank 3, but Prestivent played a really special game today. Also, his scores over the past few, he kind of started locking in. He's like 12 hours into a stream right now, so who knows how high or how low he'll end, you know, depending on how things go. But I watched a little bit of this game on stream, and I thought this was a really cool game to review just because it points out a way to play in this meta that I think a lot of people aren't really considering very much at all. Also, you'll notice right here, I got a different mic. My old mic was having some issues. I was working off like a 10-year-old Blue Yeti, so wanted to get a new mic. This is the MV7. And the Shure MV7. I'm still trying to make sure I have all the settings and stuff like that. So if anyone actually knows stuff about mics, let me know. I basically just plugged this thing in, went into OBS, messed around with settings for a little while, and like this is what I'm working with. But you know, I'm sure it could be even better if I do it perfectly. So we get a Kassadin pair from the start here. Kind of awkward items for Kassadin though in this situation, right? There's nothing you're too crazy about here with the bow and the teardrop here. Like these don't really look like Kassadin items, right? The bow could be half of Gwynsu, but you know, nothing special. There is the Nasher Slam, which I want to talk about as well, but let's look at Augment first. Young Weldon Free tends to be pretty bad early. Item ladder kind of awkward if you're thinking about potentially playing like a reroll comp like this. And then, you know, Spoils of War, pretty solid choice. You just need some kind of like 2-star unit to play around, honestly. We have Lesser Champion Duplicator, which is an interesting idea, right? You could take this, make a Kassadin 2-star, and then just kind of guarantee Kassadin 3-star by the end of the game. So I would think, especially calling Kassadin in the spot, that you would lean towards Team Builder in the spot. But Prestivent actually makes a really interesting decision here. He goes for the Spoils of War. He's going to take the reroll charm here, make the Jax 2 here, and he's going to pop his charm in the situation. There's a lot of good stuff in here. Actually, I have no clue what Prestivent's going to take in this spot. I've always been a fan of Moonstone Renewer. I think, you know, it's a quite solid one in general, and was really broken earlier in the set. Obviously, Eternal Flame is good. New Spite is really cool, where it's like a Rand wins, but for AD and AP. And then Aegis of the Legion is also really insane early. Like these are some of the best options you could get. Maybe just Aegis for early combat strength, or Moonstone because it's Moonstone. I don't know. Really curious to see what Prestivent actually takes here, because I don't know. But we also noticed something interesting, right? Is that DPay here. Okay, so he is going to go for the Aegis, kind of like the strong early game choice here. We do need to level here. We're going to level for second Kassadin, put the Jax over here so that we can Aegis. We're going to make the Aegis, and then we are going to make this Nasher's Tooth here. Now, there's actually been a decent amount of discourse on whether Nasher's Tooth is actually like better than Gwynsu's Rageblade on Kassadin. The idea sort of is that Nasher's Tooth is worse than Gwynsu's when you're playing for really long fights, when you have a lot of like combat strength already. Also, huge shot for Prestivent here. We can throw in a 4th multi-striker and get the Kassadin 2-star here. The idea though is that, you know, Nasher's Tooth is really good if you are playing for really quick fights, right? If you're like 7 multi-striker and you have like some way of dealing extra damage, then Nasher's Tooth becomes really good. It's kind of weak when you're playing for those really long combats with stuff like Keepers. That's the idea, at least, that, you know, Gwynsu's is good in those situations because you're playing for long fights. But Prestivent makes the slam here on the Nasher's Tooth here. The idea is that it's good enough in this situation to make, and that's something that we're going to talk about throughout this entire game, because we know we can scout DPay here. Look at DPay. We can look a little bit closer at his spot. I'm sure we'll scout him again at some point. But he took the Keepers, like we talked about, a very solid augment for playing this comp. I didn't actually see a Kassadin on his board there, which is interesting. Okay, we scout DPay again. Yeah, let's go back and look at the DPay scout. And let's look at all these scouts here. So there's a Syndra, well, maybe Cinder board. We'll see. This guy certainly playing like Kog'Maw type stuff. There's multiple people playing Kog'Maw. So yes, this is DPay. He does have a Kassadin. He is Rod, Sword, and Giant Spell tier, so potentially half Gwynsu, half BT, but he has the Akali pair and the Kassadin, which is scary for us. And then I believe we scouted... Was Voidson? No, I don't think Voidson. I think DPay is the only person contesting us in this position here for sure. Yeah, let me look at Voidson real quick. Yeah, Voidson's not playing. So we're one-way contested Kassadin in this situation here, which I think a lot of people, I've certainly been in this spot before, and I've dug in my heels and said, I have a better spot for this. I have a Kassadin 2 with items. I am just going to play Kassadin reroll from this spot. And that, interestingly enough, might not actually be the best way to play this game. And I'll talk about that a little bit more as we get further in. Tier open here, I would certainly be looking at something like a Hodge. If you want to make an item for Kassadin, it's certainly serviceable on him. There is also this idea of Archangels on Kassadin, which is interesting. You know, it's another sort of like scaling item. Kassadin does scale with AP. The more I talk about it, the more you guys sort of will probably get the sense for. There is this kind of new Kassadin build emerging, which is like AP more towards Kassadin as opposed to just like the attack speed Kassadin. Hodge does seem like a pretty solid slam here, so I think if a fight's ever close here, we would make it. This is Cinder 2 here, so maybe we're afraid of that enough to make the slam here, but they are only level 4 with no combat augment, so yeah, we are just gonna opt to not slam here. Good call by Prestivent here to not slam onto the Kassadin here because he didn't have to win that fight. So really, really smart to keep the optionality open. I've talked about this many times before, but keeping your options open in TFT in spots like this by not making item slams is always good, right? When you don't have to, right? You want to slam the Hodge here if it's going to win you a fight, but hey, look at this. We just fought 2 really weak boards back to back, so we don't need to care about slamming this item here because it doesn't do anything for us, and we now have the option to make something like an Archangels like I talked about, which maybe is better on Kassadin. We'll see. We will see what Prestivent ends up slamming this game, but we have the 5 streak here. There's Shen, who is the very classic level 6 on this board, fills out Bastion and Pyro for the board. And to me, I would certainly think, I would just say, okay, we're contested by DPay. This game, we are going to kind of like roll aggressively because we have more Kassadins than him, try to hit Kassadin like way earlier than him and just live with that. But I mean, we shall see. So we do have the Quicksilver that we can make here. Fantastic item onto Kassadin. And this does leave, interestingly enough, the Archangels open. We go look at Philip's board here. Wait, that's actually a really cool, interesting call to make as well. Look at Philip's board here. He has 3 multi-in and a Kassadin too. He's probably not playing Kassadin reroll from this spot, but he is certainly denying some Kassadins from us by playing Kassadin in the early game here. And this is what so much of this meta comes to. And Prestivent is doing a fantastic job of it right here, is scouting every single round, being really diligent about the scouting and seeing how many of your units are out of the pool. Because he notes at this point, this guy, Philip here, has Kassadin 2 in the situation. We haven't scouted DPay again, but DPay we know at least has Kassadin 1, and certainly at 3-2 wants to roll for some more Kassadins. So I think at 3-2 we really need to reevaluate what our board looks like and what our game looks like here. Augment-wise here, I think Placebo is the best one here. Row Rejuvenation, the statistics don't look that good on it. I believe we can look up Silver Row Rejuvenation. Let's do a quick stats check here, just for charity. I don't know. Row Rejuve, so 4.5 Placebo. Row Rejuve is 4.59, so about the same. It's a little awkward to get Row Rejuve because you want to greed for this, so I would angle Placebo here and then just use the gold to either reroll or push levels, but he insta rerolls Placebo. I guess we did also have Recombob, but I'm not interested in that. So yeah, it looks like he really wants the Row Rejuve here, which is interesting to me. I'm a bit surprised about that. But you know, I think his idea is you can never have too much Omnivamp on, we kind of need the Omnivamp on Kassadin here in this situation because we yeah, and then we'll just position like this. I mean, this is really smart from Prestivent. Okay, but here's our scout, right? We see the 2-star Kassadin taken out from DPay. We know that Philip also has a 2-star Kassadin, so that is already 9 Kassadins out of the pool, of course, including our own. There's 25 2-costs in the pool, I believe, so that's over a third of the pool gone already of Kassadins, and we have to find 6 in the next 16 Kassadins, which is a little bit difficult, right? Thinking just in terms of the pool, that's a bit under half. That's like, I don't know, maybe 35% or something like that. You know, half would be 8. So I mean, then it's like 75% of half, which is 37 and a half or something like that. I think so. In any case, we have the setup here, and it's a good setup, right? We're win streaking here. We've made a lot of gold here. We've picked up a Gwen already. And with this Gwen, I think Prestivent gets an idea, and maybe he already had this idea, which is really smart, is saying, you know what? This isn't a Kassadin game. This is not a multi-striker reroll game. Because with 6 Kassadins out, my chances of actually finding Kassadin 3 this game are nothing. They're very low in this situation. So instead of actually going for Kassadin 3, I'm going to use this Kassadin to push levels to give me a really strong early game, because this is one of the strongest early game units in the game. And I'm going to use this to push fast 8, fast 9, and play that way, which is really, really smart, and I think it's something that so few people are doing. This Kassadin into Fast 9 idea. We can level here practically for free here, just get in another unit. Yeah, the Gwen feels really, really good here. We aren't, greeting Row Rejuvenation value completely. We're just greeting the this value because, I mean, it's a very, very small amount of extra Omnivamp here. You really just care about, getting the Row Rejuvenation Omnivamp in general. But look at this Kassadin go. These fights aren't even close. You can also see the value of this Nashers and Archangels build in these fights that are a little bit quicker, especially with the Nashers. The Nashers is doing a ton of work, and then Archangel kind of is backup. It helps when the fights do end up getting kind of longer. You kind of have both there. But you can see another Kassadin here, but we've already pushed 7. We're not looking for Kassadin 3 at this point. We are looking to actually just play a tempo game. Sorry, I wanted to pull up OBS to make sure I'm still recording, because sometimes I get halfway into a video and realize I stopped recording. But all good. You just saw a little bit of my OBS there. That's chill. But yeah, I mean, this Kassadin's doing work. We pick up a free duplicator here. So crazy, right? That we're going to pick up a duplicator here, and we're not actually playing reroll. And we do lose this fight here. It's actually insane to me, and I think Prestivent's pretty offended as well that he lost this fight. We lost a Kog'Maw too with 3 items. That's the idea, right? Kog'Maw is such monster. Look at this board. Kassadin's broken, but Kog'Maw is so broken as well. Do you guys really agree that this board actually beats our board? I'm quite surprised. We're up a level. We're Kassadin 2 or 3 items versus Kog'Maw 2 or 3 items. We have 2 upgrades. They have these 2 upgrades. They have Moonstone Renewer, which is big. I'm pretty surprised that this fight is as bad as it is. I guess it comes down to poor fight RNG. Kassadin ends up getting hit pretty late into the fight. He was 1 mana off casting there, which probably would have won the fight, which is wild there. But we do end up losing this fight, which hurts our win streak. But still, 60 gold, level 7. We're very, very healthy, very, very wealthy here. And in a fantastic spot, I would say, in general. But I think if Prestivent had dug his heels in here and said, I'm playing Kassadin reroll, he would have to roll a ton of gold to actually find Kassadin 3. And the other idea is that it's very unlikely that we're going to find a Kali 3, because DPA is playing, the reroll version of this comp. He's probably picking up a lot of stuff here. So we're going to level up, pick an upgrade here. We have Ionic Spark as a slam here, and potentially Crown Guard as the secondary slam. I like Crown Guard a lot, and the Ionic Spark can go into Gwen. And Prestivent's idea is that we're going to play around Gwen on level 8 or level 9 as kind of our AP item holder for a lot of this stuff, like the Archangels, like the Nashers potentially, or the QSS as well. And we can figure out maybe it's like Nashers, QSS, Gwen, and then Archangels go somewhere else. We'll see. But the idea is we can play around this Gwen that we've picked up and really just play like a level 8, level 9 version of the board, which is crazy to me. Blossoming Lotus looks like Prestivent doesn't value this that highly. Mentorship is really, really nice in situations like this when you are going 9, because you're going to get 5 costs in that you can mentor up. Teaming up is also more gold to play around. Ooh, wow. He doesn't even take Capricious here. That's interesting. But he wants teaming up for the gold and potentially the ability to high roll something like a Gwen. So reasonable. We do hit a Nasus here, which is tough to play around. The Callista fits on the board for now. I guess the other idea is that another support item is really, really valuable here, as long as it's something. The thing is, most support items synergize with Aegis, Randuin's works, but like Zeke's or Locket would also work pretty well, and then that would also play into Row Rejuvenation. So these items actually work quite well together. So yeah, the teaming up, I believe. Also the statistics. I know at least in a lot of the Fast 9 comps, teaming up looks quite good. Yeah, 4.38 teaming up statistically is just, sorry, it's OBS when I minimize it on the, I move it over to the other monitor and then it just pops back to this monitor for some reason. It hates me for whatever reason. In any case, teaming up, just a really generically strong augment, getting a support item, especially when basically all the support items have been buffed this set, and just a couple of 4 costs is really nice. But you'll see here, look at our spot, right? We are level 8 here, 56 gold, very highest health in lobby, and Kassadin is still doing work here. We're fighting, I don't know whose board this is. Is this Deepay? No, this is Philip. Okay, so yeah, this was Philip who's holding onto the Kassadins as well. And Philip's doing a similar thing where he's using Kassadin, playing around it early, and then using it to push levels. So I think, very similar to last set when people realized, wait, Teemo's a broken unit, I can use him to Fast 9. I think more and more people are realizing, okay, Kassadin's a broken unit, I can use him to Fast 9. With just Rod open here, another Archangel? Wow. I mean, Spark doesn't seem great. I think we can use this for potentially like an AP item holder, or like an AP carry late game, something like a Xerath potentially if we can go full on Fast 9, because look at our HP, right? We can certainly sack 3 more rounds and then 5 to it with a lot of gold. But yeah, I mean, I think this is just a beautifully played game for Prestivent, because I think so many people, especially in a meta like this, they would just dig their heels in and say, I'm playing reroll in this spot, and I have the best spot for Kassadin. If you guys can test me, you're going on my int list and I'm just flaming you. But I think so many people realize when we get into metas like this that there are other ways to play the game, that you don't just have to play the same contested comp as everyone else. You don't have to just dig your heels in and try to play reroll from a spot. You can just just use these guys when there's this many units at the pool. And he did a fantastic job, by the way, like I talked about, of scouting. Scouting is so important because if Connor, not Connor, but Philip. If Philip wasn't holding those Kassadins, then we're only one-way contested with DPay, and it's a little bit okay. You know, maybe we can eke out the Kassadin game from there. But when we see that there's 9 Kassadins out, including our own at 3-2, the value of rolling just goes down a ton. So the idea is that you just want to push levels. I mean, I'm pretty sure if I had seen this game for Prestivent earlier, I would have played my last game, not my last game, but one of my last games last night differently, because I ended up playing a contested Syndra game when I had the school mascot augment, and I just decided to dig my heels in and play Syndra reroll, and I eventually hit Syndra, but it ruined my tempo so much hitting Syndra 3 that I only went like 3rd that game, when I really feel like I should have won that game in my spot. So really cool stuff from Prestivent, seeing just playing flex TFT. We have a Shojin slammable here, which seems fantastic. Shojin Archangels can go into like a Zerath later would be the idea, and maybe even just a Gunblade or a JG perhaps to synergize with the Archangels. We'll see here what the slam is. I would probably go JG, I guess. Maybe GS? JG? Shojin Archangels JG sounds really nice to me. He's going to go the Gunblade, though. Yeah, the Gunblade and the Shojin. Okay. So, yeah, the Gunblade onto Gwen is the idea, right? So that we get some healing. Okay. I could certainly see that. And then we're going like Shojin, Archangels, Nashers onto a different carry. And then QSS is going onto Gwen. I think this makes a lot of sense, guaranteeing the healing for Gwen. We have the Rare Rejuvenation, but it's silver. It's not that much. But you can see, look at the amount of gold that we have. I will slow it down here for this roll down here because it's important. I think we do buy this charm here just for econ in the situation. We're 43 HP, so you don't have to worry too much. And look at this board pivot. He's already got the whole board in his mind here. He doesn't pick that charm up, but he does pick up Major Wish here. I think maybe he just didn't see the charm because he was doing all this stuff. There's Nora who can come in. We can play potentially, yeah, around that Briar, but we're going to opt to not do it. And for people who flame me for saying Briar, blame Watanabe_Kai. It's his fault. We do pick up a Karma here. Really nice pivot, actually, from Prestivent here. We actually got the Shapeshifter in as well. We basically got everything we need into the board. It's just obviously we have to roll some more. And like I talked about, the item setup is Shojin, Archangels, Nashers. Throw that onto Karma, and then this Gwen 2 is going to be holding our Gunblade and our QSS and our Spark. Yes. So we need to, of course, continue to roll down in this situation. I can slow it down a bit here. Maybe I'll do 1.5x speed for this roll down, because we're really at this point looking for upgrades. Oh, I wonder if you ever take that Chop Refresh one. I think I might have, but I think Prestivent's idea is that he wanted to play for better stuff here. In this situation, you want to play for like combat here. This certainly needs to go on the board. Do you just play it over Melio? I mean, Melio is just fairy and like giving items to units. We're going to play it over the, okay, we're going to play it over the Nora, all right, and Melio is going to stay in. There's Nico too. Bard's going to come in over the Melio. I like this. We play the 4 Preserver instead of Melio because, yeah, like I said, Melio not doing too much. And yeah, now we get to play 4 Preserver, 3 Witchcraft onto this board. Obviously, we're fitting Warrior in. The Bard also fits in nicely for Sugarcraft, though it is stage 5 and we are 0 stacks, so I don't think it's going to be too crazy. But, I mean, look at this. The Gwen actually does a lot of work in these fights. We're fighting a Syndra board, one of the strongest boards in the game, and we just barely lose that. But the nice thing about this spot is we have the ability to cap out highly. There's a Morello on Carousel, which I would, okay, red buff is Morello, but better. So I'm down to take that in this situation for sure. I wasn't even looking at that. Oh, and it looks like maybe we picked up, did we pick up Sticky Fingers as our charm to get another item? I guess so. Going to continue the roll down here. At this point, I don't need to slow it down because we're basically just looking to upgrade this board and have some other options here. Nasus too, really big and important here. We'd love a combat charm in the situation. Wow, that's also crazy that he sells, but the idea is that we can move items now. We can move the red buff over here. We can now put LW Gunblade there. Wow, really smart stuff from Prestivent to use that charm to move items around. We obviously wanted red buff Karma, so it's actually one of the better charms to get in this situation to move red buff over to Karma here. And look at this Gwen go. I think Gwen is a unit that so many people doubted, right? I feel like I am #1 Gwen doubter, so maybe it's just my personal bias or something. Caught. But like I feel like I am really not interested in playing around this Gwen unit as an AP item holder for stuff like this. But Prestivent doing a fantastic job of item holding the Gwen, and Gwen actually doing a lot of work here with just Warrior and this like very low value Sugarcraft in here. These items are making her into a pretty tanky but also high damage dealing bruiser. The Fiora is doing a really good job doing cleanup along with the Gwen, and we're playing this Preserver Warriors version of the comp. And look at this, we're already cruising to a top 4 from 16 HP, right? From 16 HP. We were really low, but Prestivent has pivoted this, it has made this pivot very well. He had like 1 or 2 rounds where he needs some extra time. And I think with charms in the game, you need a lot of HP and a lot of time, and just as much econ as possible, just because of how hard it is to make pivots like this. Looking for item here for Fiora here. We do just roll down because we are now stage 6, so losing HP is really, really big. No real Fiora item here, so what are we going for? Double Crown Guard, I guess, on Nasus? Yeah, I guess you have to. It's not my favorite, but it's life. And picking up the dragon is, of course, also huge. That is usually a free fight win late in the game. Our Fiora out there is quite scary, actually. I don't completely love this, especially versus the Cinder, who ended up bursting down that Fiora. But look at the Gwen, just skipping around the board, tanking up a bunch, doing a bunch of damage, and boom, top 3 now. Like, just beautifully played, right? We have the Enhance here. I guess if we want it to potentially find a 2-star 5 cost here, I think it's pretty reasonable. We miss there. Ooh, we do end up hitting the Morgana 2 here, which is really nice. The idea is that eventually Morgana 2 can be your main carry, but I don't really see how we're getting out of this Nasus 2 at this point. Briar 2 would be certainly like an option if you want to play around her, but you kind of need to hit the Briar 2, and I think we're pretty far from that. We're also still stuck on Karma 1, which is crazy, down to 1 HP after that fight loss, by the way. But hey, we hit the Karma 2, which is a big upgrade, and hopefully this can be enough to at least beat Philip here. We roll once for the charm, really, really smart, and get the Bramble Vest there. Must go on to Nasus, I imagine. Ooh, no, Fiora. We're more interested in keeping Fiora alive than the Nasus. That's interesting. And we are going to fight Philip here. Nasus in a pretty good spot here with getting the ult off here, like tanking for a lot of the most important stuff. And yeah, we just stomp Philip here. Easy top 2 here. And hey, maybe I think either our clone or Philip's clone ended up beating that other player here. So now we're 1 fight off of the end of this game. Gargoyles or Sterax, and it's also Diana too, but I still, or no, we sold it Diana's. I was gonna say, like, I don't even know how you fit Diana on this board. Major wish here, hopefully for combat, and we do get combat. Our entire board gets bigger, which is really, really big for us here. So 1 final fight versus this so cap Kog'Maw board. Oh, that's why the Nasus was on the other side last time, is he just wants to have Nasus obviously same side as the Kog'Maw, so Nasus can tank for our Fiora and for our Gwen, and we have the Nasus in a good spot here. He's a tanky dog, but he's maybe not too tanky enough. But my God, big Fiora ult there, big Gwen ult, and we win the game. It is a first from Prestivent. I don't know. I thought this was a beautifully played Fast 9. Obviously, there are a couple of rounds in the end there. Let's just go back and look at our final board for the people who are interested in that kind of stuff, because I think his client bugged out at the end there. But I thought this was a beautifully played Fast 9 from a contested Kassadin spot. I think so few people would have gone Fast 9 in this situation. So many people would have just said, oh my God, I'm contested, Mort Dog. Like, it's not my fault. My spot is so good. But Prestivent, you know, he has an internal locus of control. He doesn't say, I got unlucky. He says, you know what? I'm going to make the best out of it. I'm going to go Fast 9. I'm going to pivot into this Gwen Fiora board with the Karma, and I'm going to win out and go first this game. So beautiful game from Prestivent. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, comment, and subscribe. Once again, I do still have that Raid Shadow Legends promotion in the description if you're interested in getting free coaching. The details for all of that are in my Discord, and if it doesn't work for you on PC, you can download it on mobile, I think. You can also try using a different browser like Microsoft Edge, because I know it's finicky with ad blockers. But hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.